welcome back to Under Triangle Strategy.
Deep in the Grand Norzelian Mines lay a most unexpected discovery. Crystals of pure salt.
So we know the story, but what happened last episode, we secured Grand Norzelian Mines, and they discovered a salt crystal in which several things unfolded in Aesfrost as well, namely Svarog and Gusodolf's alliance after knowing the truth. And now Roland and the others are going back to Glenbrook, making sure the mines is protected, and they're gonna move forward from here. So here we are, final conviction option once again.
Now in possession of knowledge that could alter the course of history in Norzelia, the members of House Wolffort gather at Whiteholm Castle to discuss their next move.
Unexpected though it may be, the salt crystals are now ours. How shall we proceed?
Carefully, for it has the potential to alter the balance of power across Norzelia. This is an opportunity to reshape the realm to our benefit. We must be strategic.
It's a target on our backs is what it is. There'll be no peace for us so long as we hold him.
Hyzante will set upon us with a fury we've never known if they hear of this.
She's right. They will stop at nothing to defend their faith.
Nor will Aesfrost go quietly into the night.
Then let us prepare for when word does spread, rather than fret over how long we can keep the secret. Whether we protect the salt as ours, or find another way to use it, we must act soon.
What say you, Your Majesty?
We find ourselves at a crossroads. Not just as a kingdom, but an entire realm. Our decision will touch every life in Norzelia. I too wish to act quickly. But I beg you all for a moment alone with my thoughts.
Your caution is admirable, but ill-advised. Hesitation could cost us everything.
That much is obvious. Yet I cannot race headlong into the unknown when so much depends upon us.
Benedict, I find myself unmoored as well. I wish to hear from all present before we decide upon a course of action.
As you wish. Pray let it be swift.
Serenoa, answer me this. Can I count on you to walk the path with me, whatever it may be?
I was named Lord of House Wolffort long before I was inducted into the Saintly Seven. And I've been your friend even longer still.
Say no more. Take the others to Castle Wolffort and await my word. Likewise, inform me of any movements from Hyzante.
As you wish. Until we meet again.
I think Roland's decision was the worst of them all. It's just like a coward's way out. And Frederica is the most selfish, I guess, and least relevant. Very personal matter. But I haven't really looked into Benedict's.
I am gladdened to see each and every one of you, my ironclad brothers in arms, here at Twinsgate. I have asked you here to tell you of a most fortuitous discovery. We have found crystals of salt deep in the Grand Norzelian Mines. Alas, Glenbrook has taken those very mines from us. What's worse, Glenbrook's esteemed House Wolffort is led by one of the Saintly Seven of Hyzante. They will no doubt be informed of the salt crystals, and their precious religion will be shaken to its core. I trust you can all imagine how Hyzante will respond to such an affront. They will not go quietly, but will instead seek the crystals for themselves, that their reign of terror may continue unimpeded. Therefore, we must subdue Glenbrook and seize the mines for Aesfrost if we are to counter this grave threat. But we cannot stop there, for that will only draw Hyzante to our gates. They will stop at nothing to conquer all of Norzelia in their name. The Duchy has never been in a more precarious position. But we will not yield. We subscribe to no faith, and we bend the knee for no king. We shall greet our enemies at Twinsgate with cold, hard steel. Our newest weapon, the Death's Knell, is nearly complete. With it, we shall strike back at Hyzante. The false goddess shall crumble beneath the sheer force of our iron will, and Hyzante reduced to rubble along with her. Raise your swords, my black iron heroes. Your names shall be cast in iron when the histories of this day are written. You shall be known as the defenders of Aesfrost.
For Aesfrost!
Oh yes. The Death's Knell will reduce many a falsehood to rubble, dear Gustadolf.
Finally gonna find out what Svarog is planning, because I think if we do in fact pick Roland's route, we're gonna side with Hyzante, in which we're gonna have some finale against Aesfrost.
Have you heard the popular rumor, Lord Claris?
That Hyzante intends to raise an army against Glenbrook? Yes, I am familiar.
So it's reached the Consortium then. Is it true?
King Roland has only just reclaimed the Crown City with Hyzante's help, not to mention restored relations with them. Ordinarily, such a thing would be unthinkable, but the rumors are so persistent that I think something may be afoot.
For example?
I wouldn't be so restless if I had an example to give.
Aesfrost gathers its troops at Twinsgate. Might they have heard the rumors as well?
Perhaps. A battle for the very soul of Norzelia may loom on the horizon. But therein lies the opportunity for merchants like us. You can't wage war without a surfeit of supplies.
You're quite right about that.
And each shift in Norzelia's power balance opens new business opportunities.
Will the Consortium continue trading with Hyzante?
'Tis difficult to say. I believe House Wolffort's actions from here on will be key to the Consortium's decision.
House Wolffort, you say?
Indeed. They've been involved in most every conflict between the three nations on this continent. Why stop now? I shall wait and see how Lord Serenoa responds first, lest I make any hasty decisions.
Ah, Milo has sent a dispatch from Glenbrook. Deep within the Grand Norzelian Mines lies... It would seem salt crystals were found within.
Impossible!
Does she mean salt can be found outside the source?
Yes, but we were well aware of that. Rosellan legends tell us as much.
Well, no one told me of these legends.
This is not about you. By the Hierophant's decree, not even the Saintly Seven are to be told of the goddess's works.
The discovery of salt outside the source explains Gustadolf's recent provocations.
How can you be so calm? The teachings tell us that salt is a blessing, bestowed only upon the goddess's followers. The discovery of these salt crystals is an existential threat to Hyzante.
Salt crystals are salt too. We need only keep word of this discovery from spreading.
Of course. But how?
The Hierophant has spoken. Minister Exham, you shall raise an army and seize the Grand Norzelian Mines in Hyzante's name.
The Hierophant asks us to invade Glenbrook?
Do you have another way to silence King Roland and his royal hounds in House Wolffort?
Minister Serenoa is one of us, and thus is honor-bound to heed the Hierophant's word. But we know not if he will do so, or if he will cast his lot with his precious king. You shall ask him yourself when you surround Castle Wolffort en route to the mine.
And if he resists?
You are free to deal with him, as we do with all who forsake the goddess.
Hyzante has learned of the salt crystals. Minister Exham of the Saintly Seven wastes no time in mustering his army, which now marches on the Grand Norzelian Mines. Elsewhere, Gustadolf amasses his own forces at Twinsgate in anticipation of the war to come. All eyes are on Glenbrook, where Roland and Serenoa's pronouncement could touch off a battle for the soul of Norzelia. After much deliberation, Roland makes his way to Castle Wolffort to inform Serenoa of the decision that now weighs heavy on his heart.
Time to make a decision. The final decision. Shouldn't be too hard with all our conviction values.
I appreciate you coming all this way, Roland.
I was the one who asked for your time, so it is only natural I make the journey. I wish to tell you that I finally made up my mind.
And I would hear your decision if you were willing to share it with me.
I've long pondered over the one thing that Norzelia needs most. I thought back on the Salt Iron War. 30 years have passed, yet the root of our conflict remains the same. Each nation still thinks only of itself, wishing to fill its coffers even at the expense of others. But who bears the brunt of such a war?
The people.
Exactly so. The avarice of the ruler is an existential threat to their loyal subjects.
And yet without that wealth, the people suffer just as much. They languish in poverty.
This much is obvious. But there can be no winner without a loser. Remove one, and you necessarily remove the other. If we achieve equality, we achieve peace.
And how do you propose we achieve? No. No, surely you don't mean...
Yes. The goddess's teachings. All can live as equals under the goddess. An authority greater than any king. The model nation was in front of us all along, Serenoa. The holy state of Hyzante. I have decided that we must give the salt crystals in the Grand Norzelian Mines to Hyzante.
And in so doing, you'll give them control of all Norzelia.
Exactly. There will be no more squabbling over salt. Norzelia will know eternal peace at last.
Unequal peace, surely. One built on the backs of a people like the Roselle, if not the Roselle themselves.
I am not blind to that fact. But so few will suffer for the good of so many. Nothing in this world is perfect, Serenoa. The sacrifice of the few for the good of the many. It's the only clear answer, and one I would give every time I were asked.
Submitting to the goddess will rob you of your kingship.
So be it. My crown, my pride. They're but small prices to pay for peace.
You are truly prepared to throw it all away.
Join me, Serenoa. Let us unite Norzelia under the Holy State.
Roland, this is quite sudden.
I understand. Pray, take all the time you need. I expect Frederica will want nothing to do with this plan, seeing as it forsakes her people. I am already mourning the rift this may cause between you. But I shall not be swayed. This will be my final act as Glenbrook's king.
King Roland's anguish plays plainly across his face. It pains me to see him so tortured.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out what he wants to do. And good thing we in this lap we got used to not using Frederica, because we know we're gonna lose her if we pick Roland.
I'm not surprised. The future of our kingdom, to say nothing of the entire continent, rests upon his shoulders.
Pray tell, what do you intend to do about the salt crystals?
In truth, I cannot decide. Salt is too precious to be hoarded. We've a duty to share it with the people, which is...
Where the difficulty lies, yes. The source makes that all too clear. Salt lies at the heart of every war in Norzelia.
Would that the boundless salted sea of Rosellan legend still existed. We'd have no need of conflict if there were a source of salt for all.
My love, if I may, the discovery of the salt crystals has made two things plain to me. The first is that my mother spoke true in the legend she passed on to me.
And the other is that the goddess's teachings are nothing more than a lie built to constrain your people.
Just so. We are guilty of nothing. Yet the Roselle languish in the source, where they are looked down upon and forced to work until they die. Entire generations lost, countless lives given to Hyzante's cruelty. Cruelty created to justify Hyzante's own avarice and lust for power.
Such is the ugly lie at the heart of their teachings.
One revealed by a crystal of the mineral they hold so dear. The time has come, Serenoa. The Roselle must be freed. The salt crystals have brought us to the brink of war. We can harness this unrest, incite the Roselle to rise up and rebel against their captors.
I am with you. Believe me, I am. But you make it sound so...
Simple. Yes, I know. But the suffering of my people is so distant for everyone else. We can no longer wait for someone to do the right thing. Help isn't coming. Why else would my own mother incite rebellion? We are alone.
I swear to you, none of this feels distant to me. The Roselle live in my domain. I am betrothed to you, my dear. It couldn't feel any closer.
And I thank the stars that I have you by my side. I do. In truth, that's why I think this time will be different. Why I'll be able to accomplish what my mother could not.
I agree. But the risk is immense. Suppose we succeed, what then? Hyzante will not let us go quietly.
Of course not.
And when that time comes, you can lead the Roselle to Centralia, just as your mother wrote about in the book she left behind. beyond the Great Falls and the Folk's Domain at the end of the Norzelia River, the ancestral home of the Roselle.
But that's just a legend.
We've already found one legend to be rooted in truth. Perhaps this one is as well. And if not, at least you'll be safe from harm.
I doubt Benedict will share our feelings, though. Abandoning all we've built to embark on a journey fraught with danger in search of a legend. Yet no matter how perilous the path ahead, I would happily walk it at your side.
We got really acquainted in a short amount of time. That's what war did to them.
I trust you understand what a monumental effect the discovery of these salt crystals will have on Norzelia's history. Whatever course of action we choose will determine whether House Wolffort leaves a legacy in that history, or is expunged from it.
How would you proceed, Benedict?
I would do all I could to keep it from falling into Hyzante's hands. They already control the source. With the crystals in hand, they will solidify their grip on the realm and in time dominate it. The siren song of a false equality under their goddess shall blanket the land, claiming every domain and its people.
Even though they count me among the Saintly Seven?
Even then, for that matters little when the equality they espouse is dictated by the goddess, or should I say, the Hierophant. In the end, they will have the same life and death control over all Norzelia that they now hold over the Roselle.
And our wounds from the battle with Aesfrost have only begun to heal. Hyzante will destroy us if we wage war against them in our current state.
But they stand little chance against us if we ally with Aesfrost.
Ally with Aesfrost? Are you of sound mind, Benedict?
Quite. Think about it for a moment. Aesfrost wants nothing more than to loosen Hyzante's grip. They will go to war if it means control of the salt crystals.
Our interests are broadly aligned, yes, but...
Aesfrost has been building toward precisely that purpose for some time now.
You speak of the Death Knell, the weapon that Cordelia mentioned.
Precisely. A weapon capable of reducing the goddess's shield to rubble, leaving Hyzante's capital ripe for the taking. Without that weapon, we cannot win. You need only say the word, and I shall convince Aesfrost to join our side.
I appreciate your candor, Benedict, and I do not doubt you could secure Aesfrost's cooperation. But I fear the harder fight is within our own domain. King Roland's heart will not be easily won.
I bid you listen closely and calmly to what I'm about to ask.
From whence this somber tone?
Do you believe King Roland is fit to rule?
What are you implying?
Decorum is of little use when the fate of our realm is at stake, Lord Serenoa. Are you content to spend the rest of your life in servitude to another?
Not another word, Benedict. Roland is more than my king. He is my friend.
And you are Lord of House Wolffort, whose military prowess is known to all Norzelia. Not the guard dog of Glenbrook and Hyzante. What else are you here to do, if not to protect your house and keep its banner aloft? But you have the potential for so much more. All Norzelia could be yours if you but desired it.
Treason, if not outright regicide. These are your suggestions.
Of course not. The blood in your veins and the royal family's ring are claim enough to the throne. There is no need for violence.
I told you not to speak of that again.
But you did not tell me to forget. The time to reckon with your lineage draws near. You must make a...
I've heard enough. Leave me.
Just know that I will do anything you ask of me, Lord Serenoa. I pray that you make the right choice, not only for House Wolffort, but for yourself.
Ain't that the best decision? No matter how you look at it.
Have you reached a decision, lad?
Alas, no. I know not which is the righteous path.
You know I'll follow you down whatever path you choose. We'll fight who we have to fight, together. And as long as it's just a single battle ahead of us, we gotta win in strategy. If we lure the enemy here, that is.
What do you mean?
This village has a deadly secret, lad, for times such as this. You see the aqueducts all around, don't you? They can be filled with oil just as well as water. We can lure the enemy in, trap them, and then set whole plots ablaze.
How terrible. To think such a death trap lay hidden in plain sight.
I only found out from Benedict the other day myself. All you need to do is hit one of the hawk statuettes. That'll spring a fence up around the area and set the oil alight.
Okay, that's new for us.
Keep them in, and the fire will do them in.
Because we didn't use the fire traps, or we didn't even go to that route. This slap.
And take part of the village with it. Truly a last resort.
Aye. And I understand why your father and Benedict chose to keep it from you. But I'm not telling you just for your edification. If you think it necessary, don't hesitate to use it.
Thank you, Eredor. I shall take your words to heart, though I pray I never need to act upon them.
Alright, the final scales.
You are certain Hyzan's army marches for the Grand Norzelian Mines?
There is no doubt.
They've heard word of the crystals.
It was only a matter of time. We knew this.
Aesfrost's army gathers at Twinsgate as well.
War's breaking out over this thing, and we've got to be ready.
How will Glenbrook respond, King Roland?
There's no need to prepare for war. I have decided that we will surrender the salt crystals to the holy state of Hyzant.
What?
Furthermore, I hereby declare that the kingdom of Glenbrook and its people shall submit to the goddess and her teachings. There is no way to bring happiness to all Norzelia with the salt crystals. Which is why I have chosen a path that will allow the greatest number of people to live in equality and harmony.
How could you? Do you not see that Hyzant's dominion over Norzelia's salt is why we are in conflict already? Is the suffering of the Rosal not proof enough that the goddess's vaunted equality is a lie?
She speaks the truth, my king. Handing over the salt crystals is tantamount to giving Hyzant's goddess free reign of Norzelia. Will you so readily surrender the realm to the Hierophant?
I acknowledge the abdication of my kingdom and kingship alike. A small price to pay in my eyes, in exchange for the security and prosperity of the many.
And the sacrifice of the Rosal, is that a small price to you?
Let's not forget about his and Serenoa's promise to Jerome and the others when they went back.
It is.
And he said it is.
How could you say such a thing to my face?
I, for one, oppose. I would prefer to ally with Aesfrost and strike back at Hyzante. The salt deposits within the mines give us the leverage we need to convince Gustadolf to join us.
Ally with Aesfrost? You dare suggest we ally with the man who murdered my father?
I see no reason why we should not. You proposed abdicating the throne for the sake of the kingdom and its people. So you should have no trouble putting aside your own feelings and judging this matter dispassionately.
I cannot believe my own ears. I will not have you lecture me on feelings when it is not your father he murdered.
None of you can see beyond your own grievances. It's no wonder my people have suffered for generations. We're told to believe in the goddess, while our own lives are thrown away to make a few more grains of your precious salt. And now, even with proof that the goddess is a lie, you would watch us dig our own graves for your comfort.
Lady Frederica, please. We shall speak of the Roselle in due time.
No, I've heard that before. Your due time is never, and I will not have you cast us aside for another 3 decades or more. All else is in disarray. If Hyzante seizes the salt crystals, we forfeit the best opportunity in decades to free my people. We know the truth. We must act upon it. We must be a light in the darkness.
We cannot afford to dilute our forces when the enemy marches on us as we speak.
So we are a distraction to you?
I am merely being rational. Liberating the Roselle would be extremely dangerous. We cannot take such a risk. Suppose we succeed. How do you propose we fend off the fury Hyzante will rain down upon us?
Aesfrost would pounce on us, sensing weakness at the undue burden we've taken upon ourselves.
Precisely. We would be without allies and ripe for the taking.
There is another way.
And what, pray tell, would that be?
We set out alongside the Roselle in search of Centralia.
Centralia is a myth.
The legends of my people are true.
I care not one whit if they are. I will hear no talk of forsaking the Wolffort domain.
Silence! I have heard enough to know where each of you stand. Do you all hold the courage of your own convictions?
I do.
Nothing I've heard here has swayed me.
I feel the same.
Very well. But know that a choice must be made. There can only be one way forward. Face the scales of conviction and prepare to make peace with the outcome.
We are in the final decision. The vote we take today may well open a rift between us. Nevertheless, it must proceed, and I am prepared to accept its outcome.
Serenoa.
We must give Hyzante the salt crystals, cow Aesfrost, and unite all Norzelia in the name of the goddess. Else we will never know peace. The Roselle will continue to suffer. 'Tis true, but this will end war as we know it, and countless more will live in peace as equals.
I have made my decision.
I will see this done not just for the people of Glenbrook, but for all Norzelia. Roland, you are the king. Surely cooperation with Hyzante need not mean the forfeit of the kingdom.
I think not.
That is where you're wrong, my friend. My time on the throne has shown me that the people need a force more powerful than any king to show them the way. There are many paths that lead us out of war, Roland. Cooperating with Aesfrost, for instance. End the war by allying with the very Archduke who set this in motion. No, cooperating with that tyrant ends nothing. His avarice has brought only pain and suffering to this land. Moreover, if anyone understood the torturous path I've taken to arrive at this decision, I thought it would be you, Serenoa. Now he's guilt-tripping us.
My lord.
We share a common goal with Aesfrost at the moment. It is incumbent upon us to seize that opportunity and rid Norzelia of Hyzante for good. Indeed, the salt crystals make an alliance with Aesfrost possible, but Roland would never assent to it. He feels the weight of the crown, underestimates his own abilities, and has allowed his hatred for Gustadolf to cloud his judgment. I sympathize, but those matters should have no bearing on the welfare of our house. Perhaps you are right, but then what of Frederica's vision? Do you concede that her plan concerns our house?
Quite impossible.
I concede nothing, for her strategy is out of the question. She asks us to forfeit all we have fought to build in this domain. How can I reasonably entertain such a proposition? And you'll brook no argument otherwise. None.
We must decide.
May I remind you that you are lord of your House Wolffort. Your duty is to your people above all else.
I believe I've reached a decision.
This moment requires a dispassionate mind. I pray you have one.
My lord. Quite. I believe...
The unswayable three.
Serenoa.
Only we can free the Roselle and expose the light that has kept them in bondage these many years. However, we must move quickly. While their great gaze is fixed upon the salt crystals, I believe we can succeed. I hear your plea, yet I cannot help but wonder if you wish to act with too much haste.
But...
I know not what I can do to prove to you that I have thought this through. I swear to you, this is no fit of pique. Benedict's stratagem may also provide a chance to strike Hyzantian. Would that not be enough? It also prolongs this war, and thus the immense suffering of my people. Even if we do prevail, you know as well as I that my brother is not a merciful man. He'll not spare so much as a thought for the weak. That much is true. The Roselle's plight would not then be buried once more amid negotiations between the nations. Do you see? The time is now, and only we have the power to save them. Power we forfeit if we assent to Roland's plan.
I have decided.
His is the one vision for our future that I cannot abide. Perhaps my concerns seem narrow when all Norzelia is at stake, but I know you can save my brothers and sisters. I beg you consider it. Very personal, but not unfounded. Indeed he is. Though it does make me wonder if everything he has done is simply for the sake of our house, or something more. Of course, I wish for all of us to walk astride the same path as we always have. Yeah, we know it's kind of linked to Destra, and we will not find out unless we take his route. But of course, before you do though, allow me to thank you for all you have done for our house. I wish you and your family every happiness. Alright, time to convince some people here.
However,
here we stand after a bitter fight to reclaim the crown city, only for the king to speak of forsaking it. Tell me about it, Hewitt. As his subject, it is my duty to follow his decree, and yet... My lord, the choice before us feels immense. I am utterly adrift. And considering she's a king's guard, and the kingdom's gonna disappear, she's gonna lose her purpose. Pray, tell me how you see the proposals from King Roland and the others. I need your guidance. So you've cast your lot with King Roland. Are you certain the surrender of the kingdom is the answer?
no.
I have no intention of doing otherwise. I stand by my king, as I always have. He's done so much. He fought with every last fiber of his being to drive Aesfrost from our shores and reclaim the throne. He then saved Cordelia from their clutches, but now he'll surrender us all to the Hierophant. And for what? I'm sorry, Hewitt.
However,
my head follows his logic well, but my heart cannot. Suppose we do submit to Hyzante, my lord. What will become of us? It's pretty much gonna happen. Yes, I imagine you're right. We would be tasked with breaking their ranks. That Hyzante might strike down Aesfrost. Is it not enough that we lay the kingdom at their feet? Must we also give our lives for Hyzante? Not for Hyzante, he went, for Norzelia. Roland wishes to unite the continent under the goddess, that we may save countless lives and bring peace to these lands. I see the wisdom in his vision, and offer my sword in the fight for Norzelia's people. Might as well unite under Wolffort. Very well, you both are enamored with a grand vision of the future.
Then
Perhaps it is time I took a broader view myself.
What do you need?
Each path before us demands a great sacrifice in exchange for a great reward. I'm sure King Roland, Benedict, and Frederica have agonized over their proposals. So now must we agonize over our own decisions. So you agree with King Roland, after we fought so bitterly to reclaim that which is ours, that what leads you to give it away so freely? While I understand that it must have taken tremendous resolve to forfeit the kingdom for the sake of the people, it lays one thing quite bare, which is that King Roland's hatred for Aesfrost runs quite deep, too deep perhaps. So pray tell, what persuaded you to take his side?
I wonder about that.
Ah yes, stability and equality are very comforting words, but we know the true cause of those words in the Holy State. But I see no other way of obtaining either that would prove as enduring. You acknowledge that surrendering Glenbrook and the salt crystals will render them the most powerful in all Norzelia, yes?
Well...
Which is to say you acknowledge your actions will condemn the Roselle to an eternity of oppression and exploitation. Yes, it is a trade I am willing to make for the peace and security of so many more. So say the numbers yes, but Frederica and the Roselle will find that to be cold comfort. What then will you do once we submit to Hyzante's rule? For the sake of picking... In your capacity as one of the Saintly Seven. Exactly so. I believe I can change the way they treat Roselle.
I wonder about that.
I fear your vision is rather fanciful, my lord. You are but one of them. They need only cast you out to be rid of your trifling rebellion. We will see done early on during Corentin's arc. I see no logic in handing them more power and expecting them to change their ways. Indeed, such a plot would also go against Roland's desire to save Norzelia through the goddess's teachings.
But...
I know you're doing this for Frederica. It is noble of you, and I commend you for it. But you cannot satisfy her and King Roland both. You must choose between them. We didn't really convince her, I think.
Lord Serenoa.
Benedict and King Roland would march us to war. Frederica would see Hyzante hunt us all for eternity. Perhaps her vision is not so different. So it's come to this. Ally with a one-time opponent or flee with the Roselle.
However,
Both bold proposals, all. Our tactics must be flawless. Tell me one thing, Lord. King Roland aims to unify Glenbrook with promises of peace for the masses. Peace he will achieve by submitting to Hyzante and destroying Aesfrost. How do you find this proposal? Okay.
no.
No, she said no. Yes, unified beneath the goddess, for they will be made to follow her. The people of Glenbrook will be forced to abandon their culture, their traditions, and the kingdom will fade along with them. Is that truly what King Roland wants? He knows what it will cost us. Nevertheless, it is his will.
Then?
I understand the logic. We all want peace, stability, equality. But is the cost not too great? We didn't convince her. We're not convincing everyone with Roland's logic.
Aye, lad.
Aye, lad. Our sweat and bloods fed this land, built into a proper domain. I see no reason why we should surrender it all to Hyzante. And Lady Frederica, while I sympathize, asks that we risk everything for the sake of the Roselle.
Here's what I think.
Benedict's got the right of it, I reckon, but even that doesn't quite quiet the nagging feeling I get every time I think about our options. You agree with King Roland? What are you thinking, lad? Swear. You'll hear no argument from me. Gustadolf's a lousy cur. I haven't forgotten all the blood he spilled. King Regna, the Crown Prince, to say nothing of taking the Crown City from us. He set this painful chapter in motion, and I reckon he's what pushed King Roland to want to ally with Hyzante. He had his reasons, ending Hyzante's salt monopoly and espousing freedom among them. But he has disturbed the peace of Glenbrook, indeed all Norzelia, for too long. Ha, so it's revenge you're after.
And so?
Why didn't you say you were carrying out the royal family's revenge from the start? That much I can understand. And I'm sure you'll see it done, if it's the last thing you do as Lord of a High House. Okay. That's it. Shouldn't be much of a trouble at this point. Didn't seem like we convinced the neutral people though.
It is time to cast our votes. The opinions before us are many. Roland's, Frederica's, Benedict's. Which to choose? Approach the scales of conviction with your token at the ready.
You aren't wrong, but...
Uh-oh. Just need one. Tie break.
Apologies.
Oh no.
I have faith in you.
Okay. Erador. I think we convinced Erador too. We just need Erador and Hiwet.
I'm with you.
You got my vote, lad. There we go. Alright. What's it gonna be?
The scales of conviction will illuminate the path we've chosen.
Yellow? Huh.
Equal votes for all sides. As such, the Lord of the House will render the final decision.
Oh, that's interesting. But we know we're gonna stand with Roland.
The way forward is decided. We will stand by Roland, bend the knee to Hyzante, and unify Norzelia.
Interesting turn of events.